significance of this conference is this is the first time that all the stakeholders have actually come together on one platform as opposed to looking at it in silos to try and propose to the government and to evolve and agree a long-term policy for investment in this sector, which is highly underrepresented represented in the context of the Pakistan. Well, what has changed, because we've been talking about investments, and every time we talk about investment, you go to the government and you talk about what is the kind of support that you require, and it's always, well, they're all linked. So, if you support one particular sector or one investment through a tariff protection or incentives, what impact does that have then on their allied industries or sectors? So I think this is now saying, let's put everyone together, let's see what the impact is and how we can have a mutually acceptable and robust, viable proposition that will give us the kind of investment interest that we need. I won't say they're competitors because I don't see my customer as a competitor, right? I don't see my supplier as a competitor. But if I look at, if I take investment in polyester staple fiber, for example, to have a viable domestic polyester staple fiber business, which is a key ingredient in the textile chain, you have to have upstream investment in PTA. Now, we don't have a cracker, so we don't have the ability to produce ethylene oxide and derivatives, so we don't have MEG that will continue to be imported. PTA is currently locally manufactured, paraxylene is imported. There's a plant actually in Karachi that ICI had set up, which it then was divested to Lotte, which is now Lotte Pakistan, Lotte Chemicals Pakistan. Now, for Lotte to invest, Lotte will need certain kind of spread in terms of margins and returns. Now, when they get a certain level of tariff, then it has to flow through what happens to PTA, right? And then you've got the two key ingredients of polyester staple fiber are PTA and MEG. So it's all kind of linked. Okay, so the ideal is actually not even to stop at NAPHTHA cracker. The ideal kind of configuration of a complex would be a refinery, NAPHTHA cracker that then gives you different routes. It gives you the ethylene oxide and derivatives, it gives you olefins, it gives you your mixed xylenes. That will take care of your motor gasoline needs. It takes care of your ethylene oxide and derivatives, where you've got polyethylene, MEG, you've got olefins, which from where you get propylene and downstream from that polypropylene. But these are huge investments, right? Our last estimate, we did some work on this, our last estimate was anywhere between 11 to 13 billion US dollars. 11, and what you need then is, and so this is not going to be done on a standalone basis. It surely should be a consortium. It should be a consortium of investors, which include companies or entities that have the energy molecule. So a Middle Eastern crude oil producers, Pakistani large industrial houses, because again, for one industrial house to do a $3, $4, $5 billion investment, again, highly unlikely. And then customers, China, because you do a reverse CPEC here. API, yes, they do use. There are certain molecules that are used to manufacture pharmaceutical APIs, but the amount of API that you would need for pharmaceuticals that would come through the NAPHTHA cracker chain is minuscule. I mean, the main consumption is actually in petrochemicals, plastics, surfactants, stuff like that. Minimum 5 to 10 year period. It must cover. It must be absolutely set in stone, so that the environment is predictable. What investors don't like is they don't like an environment where you can't predict what's going to happen tomorrow. There has to be stability. Well, if you look at the immediate, Engro is already talking about a propane dehydrogenation based polypropylene unit. They talk about 1.1 million. We're looking at a PSF, a polyester staple fiber expansion, which would be about anywhere between 180 to 200 million US. Then there is expansions in PET that are being considered. There's a lab plant which is, so we're looking at least anywhere between 1.8 to 2.2 billion.